Hello and welcome into March to the beat. We are coming into a new month, the final month of the first quarter of this calendar year. And wow, has it been jam-packed up until this point. So much energy that is coming up to be moved. And we are experiencing that on the micro and the macro level. And certainly some of the recent astrological weather that we've been talking about over the last couple weeks is all part and parcel in many of the things that are developing in our world at this time, where, as always, we come into this space setting with intention for unconditional love, for peace, for reconciliation within, to be where we focus so that we can ripple that out as the reconciliation to our collective. We're going to talk a little bit about the astrological weather as it is rolling in here to March, and how there is not so much rest for the weary in terms of, yes, we've said it's eclipse season, baby, and we have the next eclipse happening this week on the 3/3 portal on Tuesday. So just as we're coming in, we do have a Blood Moon Lunar Eclipse to talk about, and much more. So we are going to get into that, but I have so much to show you here. Some really beautiful decks that I haven't used in quite some time coming in this month. I was inspired to bring in the Gentle Tarot, which is really very lovely. That's the tarot deck that we're going to be tapping into this week and feeling into those collective energies. And with that will be the Song of the Grandmothers, also going to bring forward a beautiful message for the collective this week. Since I mentioned that there is a lunation kicking off this week, we're also going to pull the Queen of the Moon Oracle card that will start that conversation for the full moon empowerment reading that I'm going to be preparing ahead of the eclipse. So, couple of things just to let you know as we come in here on the March Empowerment Sharecast, my free space, tucked away from the noise of social media. If you're joining me here, thank you so much for being here. If you're catching this in one of my other social media spaces, do check the caption. As I do have my Empowerment Sharecast every month, which is where we just can go a little bit deeper. We're off the beaten path over there, and that is where we pull our weekly collective card pulls here with messages that'll come through, as well as my offering you a free personal card if you would like, which I send to you in a private video recorded reading. So do check that out if you're not there already. If you are here and you know of anyone who might enjoy what we do here and the messages coming forward, please do share, as I am trying to grow and get the word out to others. So we are going to be tapping into here just in a moment. I'm just kind of looking around here. I think we're going to start with the Earth Star chakra just to get some grounding. This is going to be Archangel Sandalphon coming in, and this is no mistake because marching to the beat, we've got the Archangel that governs music. And I have some of my fun musical decks out for this month as well. We've got the music oracles as well as a tarot deck that I have never used before that's off to the side for, we'll see how we're inspired to bring that in as we move through the month. So that means we're going to be doing some things with music and the beat in that term, but also more deeply diving into it through the comprehensive work I'm doing for the Empowerment Pack this month. So if you're already with me for the Empowerment Pack, we've already got that first part 1 video rolling that talks all about the altar elements, the channeled words, as well as the first cards I pulled for a color, crystal, spirit, animal, and other messages for this month to support. So if you would like to come along for that, again, check the link description. You can just reach out to me. I have a number of different packages and bundles available for us to work together. The Empowerment Pack is the way to get it all this month. But also if you just want an a la carte reading for your own personal month ahead energies, or for one of the lunations starting with this week's Blood Moon Eclipse, you can also do that. And then the other very special thing that will be coming along here very soon is my spring equinox altar will be set. My spring or autumn equinox spreads, depending on where you are in the world, are currently available. If you would like to have one of those for yourself to really feel into the energies of this season, we reflect back on the season that we are leaving and look ahead into, in this case, spring or autumn. That reading is available now, and they will be done in the order that they're booked throughout the spring season. So I will share a little more about that and a very special offer, which is when you are with me for the Empowerment Pack this month, you get an exclusive discount on that spring equinox reading as well. So that's another way to really to save, but also to go even deeper in terms of these energies that we are coming into. And this is a very potent time for us to begin to really be looking at what we're seeding into our spiritual gardens. And, you know, can't stop, won't stop. We'll have a lot of those spring references coming up as we move into the season. So let's get started, and we'll just kind of see where we go. We're going to pull our cards, then we're going to do a little astrological weather and get into the intuitive messages. So now that we've anchored in here with Archangel Sandalphon, sometimes shameless music references abound. I can give you a little spoiler that for the Empowerment Pack, we did pull a music oracle. And as for who came up, she is an absolute legend. And I was able to share one of my vintage Tarot Tunes Day reels with her music and messages, timeless messages that came through that are so appropriate for this time. So we'll have more fun with that musical oracles deck. But if you want to find out about that, do check out the Empowerment Pack because we really get into it there. Okay, let's start with our Queen of the Moon. Since we know we have on this Tuesday, we're already feeling the energies. We're building up for eclipse. Oh yeah, Mercury's retrograde now too. So that's all part of the fun. So let's just see what's coming up as an overarching energy with this incoming lunation. Let us see. One card, please. And this is what we will begin the conversation with the full moon empowerment reading. Ooh, self-love. So we have this beautiful card, and how appropriate with Venus has definitely been one we've been talking about quite a bit, and this is giving me those vibes, but also just talking about spring and what's blooming and the notion that they're all around the crown here, these flowers, and the energy of self-love. And the number 6, bringing in balance, healing, and harmony in relationship. So we'll touch on this a little bit here. We'll go deep on it in the full moon empowerment reading. But let's bring that over here to start the conversation. And now let's take a look at this beautiful, gentle tarot. We definitely have some very gorgeous artwork on here. We'll definitely be seeing more of the characters than we always do in some other cards because there's not any clothing, let's say that. So hopefully all will go well with the being out on the internet, but that's one of the things I do love about our Empowerment Sharecast is that it's not a problem here for sure. So YouTube could be another story, but we'll see. All right. Monday, kicking things off, March 2nd. I'm coming in here on Sunday evening, the very first day of March, coming in. Okay. Beautiful Seed of Cups. Now, this deck does use some different naming for the cards from the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith that you might be familiar with, so I will translate as we go. I understand that this is, I believe, names for the court cards, so I think the seed is going to be the Page of Cups. So we will take a look at that. But we've got a little otter there floating on their back. That's adorable. And these purples, definitely a confirmation of some energies that we've already been tapping into for March that were a part of that part 1 empowerment reading. Okay. So we have, I believe, the Page of Cups. Let's see what's coming in for Tuesday. Blood Moon lunar eclipse potential blocker challenge. And oh yeah, as we know, we've been talking about eclipses being those, catapulting us onto more authentic paths and getting us into alignment in a fated or destined way. So with all of that dramatic sounding business, and it certainly can be, let's see what's coming in as a potential blocker challenge this week. One card. Ooh, the Judgment card. Wow. So this is the second to last card of the major arcana, significant energy on our Fool's Journey. And we've got that snake. I see a shooting star. There's sheds on the ground here from the snake. So we really are in the wake of the wood snake year. We just brought in the Lunar New Year with the fire horse. And it, just like that, we're off and running with this momentum, the fire, but we're experiencing it in waves that will be different as we move through the year. So in the here and now, we're still kind of in this state of having just shed all of these skins, releasing these things, leaving behind things that can't come with, and seeing things in the light that we have either never seen or haven't seen for some time, or maybe thought we never would see. That there is a lot of processing going on around that and getting of bearings with all of that as well. So I think that's quite interesting to be using the snake and the skins here for a judgment energy. So we'll feel into that for our potential blocker challenge this week. And then Wednesday is going to be our midweek blessing. Midweek blessing for this first week of March. We really did blink, and February just went on by. Oh, wow. Okay, another beautiful major arcana card, Death. So we're talking about rebirth. We're talking about being in transition, a transformation, metamorphosis. And my daughter will be just tickled. My Elena Joy, she loves her hermit crabs. And that's amazing. We see that this hermit crab is breaking out from the comfort of their shell home in search of a new, more aligned, bigger, brighter, bolder, better fit, just right for them shell. So that is a beautiful analogy for what it might take one to bear it all, to leave everything safe that they've ever known, to be very vulnerable in that state of not being protected, even just in that brief transition between shells to get oneself situated in their new home. But there's a blessing in this up level, this expansion that's taking place. And also the confidence, the boldness to say, I've outgrown something. I mean, do you see how powerful an analogy we have side by side here? The challenge and the blessing are about leaving old things behind that aren't coming with for the promise of the new. You can actually see a shooting star up here. You can see that they're heading into this new, more aligned shell. So this is both very significant, back-to-back major arcana. And there's that purple border. Like I said, I am gonna do a little spoiler alert at some point with the color that came up for this month on the Empowerment Pack and how I'm seeing that show up everywhere. So Thursday is the position for how are we growing? And you know that when we're at the beginning of a month, I like to look at that as not just this week. How might we grow this month? This season? And oh yeah, another thing that March is bringing is the real new year, with the astrological new year happening, with Aries season arriving and equinox later this month. So how are we growing? Out of those snake skins, out of those old shells, how are we growing? Ooh, I got two. I do feel like I should take them both, so I'm going to take them. I don't normally do that, but I will. Oh, wow. Okay. Ooh, Justice and 8 of Cups Wow, I'm getting goosebumps. So 8 of Cups is about moving on, and it can be a bittersweet departure, right? But and this is emotion, this is water and flow, the heart chakra, but there is this sense of, I have to move forward. You know, this is no longer sustaining me, and it is no longer sustainable. So I move on into brighter horizons. And in that, we have the justice energy. I mean, look how beautiful with the little sprouts coming out, those little tendrils starting to grow. Again, we see this emergence happening of new growth on both sides of the light and the dark here as we see it depicted. And of course, the book is going to give us beautiful background into the story and the symbolism that we see here. This is justice. So we have 3 major arcana cards and 2 cups cards so far. Emotion, but also this purple is about the higher self and the higher wisdom and the big secrets as what major arcana means. So this is very interesting. I'm going to put it like this. So we have those 3 all together. And then we have our 2 here, which I'll keep them kind of separate so we remember that they both apply to how we are growing. And now our final tarot card for Friday to wrap it all up for this week, this first week of March. One more card, please. There we go. Wow, another cups. There's a lot of emotion. There's a lot of this element of water, bringing cleansing, clarity, but also spirit, and a lot of different ways that we could be interpreting this, the root of cups. Let me double check. This is going to be another court card. I just want to get it straight, but that's going to be, I think, the next one. But let me just double check. Yeah, purple for the major arcana is spirit. Blue for the cups, of course, is water. And we have seed, root, flower, and harvest for our court cards. So this is the Knight of Cups. So we got the Page of Cups to begin, and we end the week with the Knight of Cups. Messenger to action, both in water, in the heart, in the element of water and flow. And then all between there is major arcana and spirit speaking to us. So these are significant, messages that are coming in. We're going to finish it off with our oracle card, Song of the Grandmothers. This is very beautiful deck, and a little fun fact. The Gentle Tarot is by Mari, and she is the illustrator on this deck with Kara Simmons. So it's kind of a cool little connection between the 2 decks and the 2 women that created them. So let's see what Song of the Grandmothers wants to bring up here. Coming forward here from the Oracle, Song of the Grandmothers. Oh, wow. Wow. So this is card 66. This is Grandmother Volcano with the key word of change. There's no turning back. What was once before, now not. A demarcation point. Very, very significant to all that is transitioning and transforming and metamorphosizing and being reborn in our world at this time. This is a very powerful energy. I can just feel all this water and spirit, and now the fire with the grandmother volcano coming through with change. That's very powerful. I'm actually just going to put that here for now. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at some of the astrological weather that is rolling through this week. All right, let's begin with some astrological weather. I think we have aspects for several of the days this week that we're going to highlight, beginning with Monday, right out the gate, March 2nd. We've got Mars moving into Pisces. So this is about surrendering to go with the flow and how that's going to be the most productive move you can make over the next 6 weeks. Because starting on Monday, March 2nd, and lasting until April 9th, Mars will drift through that dreamy, watery Pisces. So just when you sit down to tackle your to-do list, your imagination takes over and pulls you in a different direction. That's not always a bad thing, as long as you carve out windows for daydreaming and then keep one eye on the clock, right? Let your soul put some action items on your to-do list. How can you lift others up and help them to feel seen and valued? And I think it's really beautiful because we have that self-love coming in here for our moon energy this week, and because we know that eclipses, they continue to ripple out. So most often the actual day of the eclipse is not when it's all happening. It is over the next 6 months to 18 months. You know, in this case, we're rounding out a cycle with this particular blood moon eclipse, Pisces Virgo. So again, this is something I'll get into deeply in the full moon empowerment reading, but very interesting that that's sort of aligning here, the self-love, but also in doing so, helping to lift others up to feel seen and loved, valued, and giving them permission to do the same. Now, it's also speaking to Mars into Pisces. Maybe it's time to get brave and face an old wound, or to get to the root of an emotional pattern that's held you back for far too long. So be aware that guilt and anger could bubble up as you let go, because this is a new level of trust. You can let Saturn in Aries be the courageous warrior, and now this Mars in Pisces, the more gentle leader, because together, this is a team that will guide you toward that healing and growth that is most needed. A lot of nods to our cards this week with those energies. Next, we have March 3rd, the 3-3 portal, full moon in Virgo, total lunar eclipse. It is happening at about 6:38 a.m. Eastern Standard Time at 12 degrees of Virgo. I've been seeing a lot of different posts out there about happening on the 3-3 portal at 3:33 a.m. Pacific time. And yes, with eclipses, over a period, we are going to have the very amplified angel numbers in effect as well. And it's beautiful master teacher energy. So now this full moon total lunar eclipse is highlighting anything you've been avoiding, especially when it comes to your daily routines. If you've let healthy habits slide over the winter, or if you're behind at work, this eclipse could feel quite jarring. Virgo is a little taskmaster. So now we're talking about getting things on track, and especially in the physical body and our health and well-being, but also, taking care of things. Lists are our friend. So, in this energy, that could feel quite jarring. So because eclipses reveal what's been hiding in the shadows, this could be a much needed wake-up call for some. Also, with this one falling so close to the South Node, don't be surprised if you end up dealing with a lifelong habit. So it's an old friend that you might be familiar with, a frenemy. Virgo's meticulous energy asks that you streamline your life without overcomplicating it. So keep things simple and manageable. Now, globally, with this blood moon eclipse, it's time to take a look into the systems that we've taken for granted. We're starting to wind down that Pisces Virgo eclipse cycle, as I was just saying, so this likely will not be something subtle on the world stage, right? So it's closing time. So this is why we've got all these major arcana cards this week, and they're not playing, and they end with Grandmother Volcano ushering in change, right? March 5th, Sun trine Jupiter. So with an intuitive Sun in Pisces forming a supportive trine to that generous, expansive Jupiter in Cancer, Feelings that you'd normally suppress could overflow and spill out everywhere. Look, I mean, you can't make it up. We have all these cups. We have all this water energy in the cards this week. And here come the astrological weather report with, everything to back that up. So, for some of you, this will be sort of a lovely relief, quite necessary, like kind of letting that, the pressure valve out a bit. While for others, it could feel like a tidal wave that you didn't ask for. So the stage will be set for some heartfelt conversations, acts of compassion, and intuitive dreams about your future. So try to plan some time with perhaps a friend or a loved one to share your hopes and fears while also trying to maintain one foot on the ground in reality. So keeping our bearings and staying grounded, just like we started tonight with our bronze ray, Earth Star Chakra, connecting in with Earth, coming back into our center, finding that equilibrium. March 6th, we have Venus into Aries. Didn't we say we've got a lot of Venus happening lately? And here's the next one, Venus into Aries. So it's time for you to follow your bliss. We've got a massive train of planets that are beginning to gather in Aries, which is adding to the speed at which things are unfolding rapidly, right? Fire with the Aries. So Venus, of course, bringing in that beautiful self-love and connecting us in with those energies, as well as the Virgo eclipse. Now, on a personal level, you'll feel a new boldness in expressing what you love, value, and desire. So this could show up as increased confidence. And I think I was tapping into that with our hermit crab over there. Finally has the gusto to leave the shell. So we're talking about increased confidence, a desire to change your appearance, like our grandma volcano coming in with the change, or rekindling a passion for old hobbies. I love it. Collectively, there's going to be a strong urge to defend what we care about most. However, with Mercury retrograde until the 20th and Mars in Pisces, there is a feeling that while we know that things are off, there's one word for it, we lack the right words or clear direction to fix them. That's definitely resonating. I also have on here Saturday's March 7th rather, sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself, 7th, with the Sun conjunct Mercury and Venus conjunct Neptune. So get ready for some buried feelings to rise to the surface today as the Sun meets up with a retrograde Mercury in Pisces. This rare pairing can offer opportunities to dig into information that's been lingering in the shadows, and it could make you feel uncomfortable or upset. So resist all impulses to send that angry text, okay? Until Mercury turns direct on the 20th. It's best to process it all with your therapist or some other objective third party, right? And I remind you, if you would like a card pull this week, I know that there's so much going on right now, and I know that some of this can sound a little off, okay? Let's just let that be our phrase. It's a little off, and we lack the right words or clear direction to fix them. So we turn to the cards as the tools we can use to help us connect in with our wise self, with our highest self who knows and understands the big picture and has that expansive perspective. So hold off on sending that angry text, okay? If you would like a card pull this week, let me know. And then, as it goes in here, while your emotions will be triggered in that energy, the Sun conjunct Mercury and Venus conjunct Neptune, this is where Venus and Neptune are going to be creating a bit of a cosmic haze that's heavily blurring the lines between reality and fantasy. So, why allow yourself to be upset or frazzled by a potential issue? You don't have the full picture, right? Emotions could run hot. We just talked about Venus and Aries just the day before. So instead, take a bath. go for a power walk or do anything you can to smooth frazzled nerves and calm that nervous system. Closure is around the corner, but today is not that corner. So go do some inner reflecting instead. Yes. So this is what I'm saying. This is a great month for some guidance. If you are feeling that you need that, and if you'd like to work together in the Empowerment Pack, I'm going to be putting together our workbook that's going to build on our March to the Beat theme, as well as the ritual that we'll have for the blood moon eclipse. And of course, later this month, that new moon in Pisces. So that's where we want to focus our energy on, our own inner work and reflection. And we can use these tools to help us to flow as best we can through some very choppy waters, right? And the fire and all this energy that's coming in that is no easy feat, right? So if I can support you in any way, please do reach out. Okay, let's get things started with, I'll go ahead and talk about that self-love card first for the big lunation this week, and then we'll roll into our tarot messages and our final oracle card. All right, so here is this very Venuvian card, number 6, self-love, as our overarching energy for the Blood Moon Lunar Eclipse in Virgo, which very much takes us into the physical body, to our own self-care, health, and more. So this feels really aligned for this card to have come up. Self-love, with the mantra that says, every day I bring radical self-love to body, mind, and spirit. And it really is saying that radical self-love is necessary. Empowerment starts from the inside out. Do not compare yourself to others. Start your change with focus and love of self. And yeah, this is a card that talks a lot about all of this comparisonitis and the not enough isms and all the things that live in our head that is pounded into us by society from every which way about what the perfect body looks like and the ideal lifestyle looks like, and all the things of these pressures of not being enough or having enough. And then we have the opposite, which is too much of something. Right? Too fat, too thin, too tall, too short, too wrinkly, too old, too young, you name it. So it's about really coming inside of self and really staking that claim in your own unconditional love of self and celebration of self for all that you have overcome on every level: mind, body, spirit, emotion, all of it. And really, it's like she's giving herself a hug. And I love that the flowers are blooming from her crown, because that tells me that what we understand has been going on and will continue to go on in terms of radical shifts in belief systems and understandings and expansion in our capacity to understand things from this mental crown, particularly, the opening up of the crown and the connecting in with something more than maybe we ever have before. A lot of people are waking up right now. There's so much going on in that realm. And so the flowers blooming from the crown is really symbolic of that for me. But while all of that is going on with our mind and expansion within our spirit, we have this beautiful physical vessel, our greatest tool. The biggest gift that we have for this earthly journey is the vessel that carries us through it, carries our spirit, is home to our spirit. And I love the hermit crab. I keep looking at that death card over there because it really is about this. We're leveling up our home. And this is our body, our temple. So I'm feeling a big nod to that as well. And like I said, we will build on that with the full moon empowerment reading. So if you're feeling called for some guidance around this particular eclipse, do check that out as an a la carte option. And then of course, if you do join for the month for the empowerment pack, that is included with it, as well as the new moon in Pisces. So let's take a look now at our tarot spread for the week. Okay, first up for our intuitive tarot messages for our collective week ahead is the Page of Cups, this messenger energy of the heart, of the water element, of spirit, of flow. And we have this adorable, playful otter coming in. And so that is a beautiful take on our very gentle, romantic, and loving Page of Cups. So the Seed of Cups, as it is beautifully called here, is saying, I am playfully intuitive, emotional, and a loving being. The Seed of Cups is eager to engage. She seeks lighthearted adventures of heart and soul. Fresh movement and exploration of deeper feelings are natural to her. She easily falls in love, be it with a partner, with an idea, with herself, or with the world around her. This innocent intimacy allows her to share and explore new bonds and connections. Her keen intuition lets her safely share compassion towards others and towards herself. It's our self-love energy flowing into the week here, building up to that eclipse. Be inspired by her enthusiastic spark. Let her eagerness to explore guide you. If there is an opportunity for connection, seize it uninhibitedly. If there is something you need to communicate with someone, allow yourself the self-expression to share. And I think most importantly is a paragraph that I unintentionally skipped, is if you are going through a chapter that's heavily influenced by heart and soul work, the Seed of Cups reminds you to take things lightly. Be playful with your interactions. And I think that's the most important message from the Otter, the Seed of Cups here, is about being light and playful as you go, and really treating each layer that you're exploring right now as, pieces of the puzzle, things that are bringing up for you clarity, release, forgiveness, all of that lightening, which we're going to get into here with the next cards that are coming in, is that this is a reminder of not to take everything so seriously. It's not to say that it's not important or significant or very difficult. It's about the way that we flow. The thing is happening, right? The energies are what they are. How am I going to experience them? Am I going to be face down in the water, kicking and flailing my arms and tiring myself out? Or am I going to turn over on my back and do a float, and kick my feet and just let myself flow with the current? And that is wherein lie our power in deciding how we're going to, who are we going to be, who's showing up for me as I navigate those waters. So that's really opening up the message that is bringing in some very significant energies, but bringing in first the reminder of lightness, joy, and play. So let's let that carry us into some of these more significant energies. Not that they're more important, but they definitely could use a little dose of a playful spirit. So let's take a look at Tuesday's Eclipse Day potential block or challenge. All right, Tuesday is bringing in an extremely significant energy on quite a significant day. This is the day of the Blood Moon Lunar Eclipse in Virgo, and we have Major Arcana card 20, Judgment, coming forward. And there's a very powerful message coming through the Gentle Tarot with this card. It says, this is your personal day of reckoning, when you can take in everything that is and has been your life, accept and embrace it all. You are reborn. And it's so beautiful. We have judgment and death and justice. I mean, it's wild, these three cards coming in this week. And so the Judgment card is the last of the major arcana before reaching the final card, the World, or wholeness, completion, right? So with it comes a not so easy task, but the energy of judgment is liberating and fruitful. It is time to dig deep into those hidden, dusty corners and coax the frightened little one out into the light. Love them. Embrace without judgment whatever shame or guilt has been stored away. The good, healthy experiences, along with the rough, hurtful ones. Each experience makes up who we are. Can you see and feel that strength? How strong the limbs that have carried you through, scars and all. You are beautiful. You are powerful, unstoppable, a cosmic being in a physical world. Allow the shedding of your ego. When you embrace the many facets of your being, past troubles are forgiven. Embrace forgiveness for yourself and towards others. Be honest in your digging. Break up that mud and let the river carry it away. See yourself surrounded by that cool, crisp water. Like this snake has freshly shed her skin, rise up to meet your higher self. Fulfill the promise you made to yourself upon arrival to this earth. Follow your true vocation. With the Judgment card, doubt and hesitation vanish. You know that you are ready to follow your dream. So it really is like a liberation, a liberation day, because this is culminating, this energy of a block or challenge. It's the penultimate card of this significant energy on the Fool's journey to completion and wholeness on the day of the blood moon eclipse that is just about closing out a cycle that's been going on for nearly 18 months. And so this is extremely relevant to that energy. It's really perfect in so many ways, not to make a pun about Virgo, but it's perfect. Because, with this lunar eclipse being in the sign of Virgo, like I said, it is time, right? To let it go, strip it all away, release it, shed it, fish or cut bait, piss or get off the pot, call it what you will. We are feeling that pressure building, and the release is the valve, is the pressure valve. And that's what I'm feeling like with Grandmother Volcano, saying change is coming, change is here. And there's no turning back. There's no slipping back into those skins that have been shed down there, right? So this is about really stepping into our new skin. And yes, that can feel very vulnerable, uncomfortable, and all types of things. And that's okay, as it will, because that in and of itself is the blessing, which we see beautifully in the card just beyond the Judgment. So let's take a look at Wednesday's energy with our next major arcana card. And now Wednesday, just post-eclipse on the other side of that full moon in Virgo, come the Death card. So this is really beautiful. Death and rebirth, the shedding, the releasing, the molting, and changing of the shell. Like I said, Elena is going to be so tickled to see that this card came up this week because she loves her hermit crabs. This is a card of freedom more than anything else. This is the end of a cycle, the shedding, a necessary letting go. So this is the blessing, guys. It may be the closing of a chapter of our lives or a part of us that needs to be freed. If you are resisting change, support yourself and give yourself space to transform. Collecting responses from the time that we are in the womb, the body remembers. This is a part of life. It is true for all of us. We become conditioned to act a certain way, to speak a certain way, and often to hurt ourselves and stifle our own growth. It can take us years, decades to see clearly, and even then, it can be extremely difficult to let go of these habits and conditioned responses. Like the Wheel of Fortune, death also reminds us that existence is cyclical. Rise up to discover that death is not a permanent state. It is simply a transition to a new, more fulfilling way of life. You are supported. You have everything you need to evolve. Be patient with yourself. The Death card says, the time to shed what doesn't serve you has come. Let it go. Breathe. Celebrate. remember that you are perfectly made and you are whole. Let go of that tight, rigid shell, little hermit crab, because even if you can't see or imagine it, there is a comfy shell that is more vibrant and more you, just waiting for you to crawl on in. One closed door is many more open. Wow, so powerful and so beautifully said. I really love what Mari's done here with the Gentle Tarot and just her take on these very significant energies on our Fool's journey. You know, death, rebirth, that cycle, that transition is no small feat. And we have been undergoing this for a very, very long time. And there is this quickening now. As we say, we're feeling, it's like our feet are being held to the coals, right? With all this fire. It's time. And so there is no going back. We're not getting back in the old shell. We're not getting back in the old snake skins. So it really is about stepping into your most authentic and yes, vulnerable self with confidence, with love of self, with a desire to fulfill your destiny, what you came here to do before we received all of the programming that was talking about. That was all part of it. That was all part of the soul's plan to come and experience the contrast, to experience those things that are other, in order for us to return to the light. And so that is what we've been all undergoing at our own paces, in our own stages, in our own ways. And for everyone, it's different. But it is a collective endeavor that we are laboring at this time. And so focusing on you, the true you, and this is so appropriate as being on the other side of an eclipse, which we have said are very transformative portals that can catapult us into new trajectories that are always more aligned with our true soul self. So no matter what is happening, I know that it is serving me and moving me toward greater alignment. So we go back to our Seed of Cups to flow in it. How am I going to do it, right? How am I going to be in it? That's where my power lies. So let's take a look now at the third major arcana card that came in with a pair, an unusual duo that came forward for how we are growing and how we may expect to grow through these cycles. All right, we have our two cards out here together. Major Arcana card 11, Justice, and the 8 of Cups. So let's talk about Justice, card 11 of the Major Arcana. What seeds have you sown? What dreams will you grow? The Justice card reminds us of the small choices we have. All of them, large and small, help to shape our reality. The power is in your hands. It's tough to do what feels right in a world that often forces you into a box. Tending to self-care and mental health is so important. Don't deny yourself the little things. The Justice card brings us an opportunity to reflect on cause and effect. If something in your past is holding you back, learn to embrace the lessons and shroud yourself in forgiveness. Every moment is a gift and an opportunity. Justice whispers, more healing, more integrity, more equanimity. If there is a decision or decisions in your life at the moment, give yourself the patience and loving care that you deserve to move with ease and trust. No one else is in your shoes. You know what is right. You are the creator of your beautiful universe. May we all make the time and space to heal and grow. Grow them seeds and watch how fruitful they can be. That's beautiful. So these are like little seed pouches, I guess, that are a way of scattering seeds is what I'm getting there. It's really beautiful. The notion of the dark and the light, the yin and the yang, and the idea that we're creating greater balance and, taking it traditional to the scales of justice. And that can be again, taking it to a practical level, literal legal issues, things going on in, whether we're talking about anything from parking tickets to jury duty to some type of a court case or ruling, typically in your favor. Typically, it does speak in terms of things moving in an upward direction. But again, depending on how that might relate for you, the bigger picture of justice is about the karmic scales being balanced and, getting things back on track, which can include, having to make some rulings or reviewing of evidence or weighing out of things. So a number of different ways that can come forward. This is how we're growing. So I think if I'm thinking that these are scattering the seeds, there is this energy in terms of, again, as within, so without. And when I am focusing, as the Seed of Cups has advised us, reminded us how important it is to stay focused on play and joy and flowing in it, that's how I'm going, right? And the notion of all of those scales will be balanced because there is no partiality when it comes to true justice. Okay. Now with that, we have the Eight of Cups. So, we don't always get two cards for one position, but we did tonight. So I'm going to take a look at this Eight of Cups, which is definitely showing, some things that are moving on, moving forward from something that is no longer fulfilling or sustainable in some way, that's creating an ending. Right. And there's so many, the death, the judgment, and we've got the Eight of Cups, all speaking to endings. This is the turning of a season of life, getting yourself out of a situation and following your truth, and end of a cycle. Being that she is in the buff, I'm getting a little bit of not letting the door hit us in the bum on the way out. It's a little bit of moving on. And I'll just zoom in a little because we have two beautiful cards just so you don't miss any of the beautiful symbolism in both of them. So we're talking about our Eight of Cups, and we're saying that, getting out of a situation and following our truth, the end of a cycle, which we've talked about in triplicate now through the energies this week. So this card really implores you to seek deeper meaning, or maybe it is thanking you for already doing so. Have you already begun to make some changes, to walk away from things that are no longer serving? Because that's really what this card is about. Sometimes we find ourselves so entangled in unhealthy relationships with people, jobs, substances, ways of being. We talked about these lifelong habits that could be coming around this week. Again, the stars and the cards are really aligning here. There's so much fluidity across these different tools that we're tapping into this week, that these things that we've been entangled in, that we are blinded and we get used to the pain. We just kind of just adjust to the idea that, we have this particular bad habit or something that we know is not serving us, but we tolerate it. And these things have now become fully intolerable, right? No more. So although she is broken here, we do see that crack coming there along her side. She's broken, but she is strong because she pulls herself out. She does not waste the life-giving water in that last cup. She drinks it for strength as she moves towards a new horizon. Her old path is charcoaled from already burning away, yet her feet are clean and unscathed. Look at that. That's so cool. So she stepped through a charcoal path that's burnt, from all that has cleared the way for her to move on, but yet the bottom of her feet are clean. Guys, this is definitely, for me, underscoring the justice and the ruling being favorable, or something along the lines of that, because her feet are clean, right? So let go and leave the rat race. Follow your spirit as it leads you to higher places of self-worth and power. We will never be stripped of our resilience, even if we feel weak and incapable. Drink that sip of sacred water and walk. Yeah, Eight of Cups gives me a lot of that energy of just moving on, unapologetically, and it's time. It could be past time. So I really feel that, all these endings and wrapping up of cycles in waves. We had the wood snake year just completed with the Lunar New Year arriving on February 17th with the fire horse. At the same time as a ring of fire solar eclipse, and now yet another wave closing, crashing again, folding into each other with this blood moon lunar eclipse in Virgo. So again, there is no escaping the time to address these things within ourselves, our own wounding, our own patterns, our own habits, our own tendency to stick around past the freshness date, okay? So there really is a sense of absolute moving on, holding our head high, stepping with confidence, go for it, find your new shell, right? It's so beautiful. Find your new home within yourself. Really, really powerful. We've got one card left to go to round out our week with Friday, and then we'll talk about Grandmother Volcano. Let's take a look. All right, Friday, bringing in the final gentle tarot card for the week with the Root of Cups. This is going to be like our Knight of Cups, bringing us in again to that heart space, into flow. We've got the Knight, which is about some type of action-oriented in the area of emotions, the feels, the spirit, the heart. Root of Cups, passionate in a way that is more grounded than the flighty passion of the Seed. So you see, it's even circling back to its prior card, from the Seed of Cups to the Root of Cups. And so it's saying, with much respect and honor to these ancestors, they have qualities that we can benefit from. The Root of Cups reminds us to love completely, to connect with the spirit world and with our imagination in a way that takes us beyond this physical body. If you are too strict with yourself, you may benefit from Root of Cups passion, sensitivity, and surrender. Let your imagination and heart explore more profound meaning in your life and in your relationships. You may also have to check your passion. Are you balanced or extreme? Is your imagination guiding you towards the callings of your higher self, or is it causing you to stumble on hollow dreams? Are your emotions overbearing? Feel free to try meditating as a salmon, newly arriving from the ocean. You have reached cool, crisp, fresh water once again, returning to the stream and lake where you were born. Feel the excitement on your fresh, scaly skin. Know the precision of your muscles and the excitement in your blood. Yeah, that's really beautiful, that notion of the salmon swimming upstream and, moving from the ocean, the salt waters, to the fresh waters, and what relief and what it must feel like to come back to their true home and habitat in the river. So many synchronicities in the cards this week about that, finding more authentic and aligned paths from the ones that we have been on, that we may not have even realized to the degree that we were desensitizing, numbing out, checking out, and tolerating things, people, places, things, situations, habits, and ways of being that have been holding us stagnant. So, this is really about, like I said, liberation, freeing ourselves, and use the momentum, use the power of these energies. And this is always about being mindful, not fearful. These are natural rhythms that occur in the cosmos that are a part of literally what makes the world go round, right? And so, it's never easy when we have transits that we're saying, this might be uncomfortable, this is going to be volatile, this could look like something on the world stage or from a global perspective that's something off, right? A bit off, ... And yet, use that, right? Who am I going to be, and how am I going to go? How am I going to flow? And really living that, like, how can I be in a greater state of flow? How can I find my flow, find my rhythm, find my beat? Music is going to be really big here too. Talked about meditation, and I add to that music, high frequency music. There's so much out there. I always consciously choose the music I'm playing, even in the background. You know, something that has a high frequency. Sometimes there's particular hertz that I bring in. This time, and it may have changed into the next one, but I was choosing to work with the elements tonight. And I'm pulling it up just to let you know what I have going here. Yes, it has moved on because we're doing shamanic music to heal and settle the soul and working with the elements. But again, you can find high frequency music readily on YouTube, for example, or your favorite streaming service. So music is definitely a key piece to all of this as well. That I'm just getting a little nudge. And like I said, we will continue to explore as we move into March. All right, I'm ready to read about Grandmother Volcano. Let's see what's coming in with that beautiful, powerful message. So here we go. We have our oracle message coming in from the Song of the Grandmothers. Grandmother Volcano and the energy of change with the frequency of the number 66. Now, the very first card that we pulled here tonight for our collective energies in this week ahead was card 6, self-love. And we end with card 66, Grandmother Volcano and change. And as I also mentioned, we have the powerful 3-3 portal this week with the eclipse and the 3:33 a.m. timestamp as well. So again, I'm feeling the 3s, the 6s, the multiplied energies and amplified energies of these numbers that come in along with this message, Grandmother Volcano. She says, there is no turning back. What was once before, now not. A demarcation point. So this is a card that speaks to active transformation of your personal landscape is underway. When Grandmother Volcano appears, that is her message, right? That there is this deep, active transformation underway. So inside her heart furnace, she liquefies rock to become hot, molten magma that courses down her sides as lava, bringing permanent modification, whether big or small. Sometimes change feels destructive and dangerous because it is. By definition, change is the undoing of what was, but it does not have to be scary. Grandmother Volcano discourages any attempt to micromanage the explosion or the fallout. This would be a waste of your energy right now. Instead, sync up with your knowing, employ discernment, and buckle up for the ride. You might want to visit Grandmother Ocean here in the deck for a crash course in Surrender 2. Remember, lava's mineral-rich deposits mark this transition for your good. You will look back one day and see more clearly the significance and benefit of whatever changes transpire now. And there is a quote here with Grandmother Volcano speaking. It says, I feel it building, the fiery pressure inside of me. It grows and glows quicker now. This process is me. I don't try to halt or contain it. Never have. I cannot by design. When it erupts from me, I know my surroundings will never be the same. And that's just how it is. Change is not within my control or yours. Don't be afraid of the searing forces inside you, child. There are times they need to come out. Feel them escape and create change outside of you, unstoppable. Wow. I mean, that is so powerful. And it's just amazing the way that it all comes together and just amplifies these energies that, again, you greet with intention. Set the mark to where you are greeting those energies. From where will you be, right? Looking back to our Seed of Cups with the otter reminder to be in flow, to be in fun, to be in lightness and joy as much as you can. To embrace self-love, to step out boldly and confidently, knowing that when you follow your heart and your true internal compass, you will not be steered wrong. And it doesn't necessarily mean that you won't get any charcoal on your feet, right, in the process. So it's all coming together here and quite beautifully. So again, please, if I can support you, if you would like a free personal card pull this week, please feel free to reach out to me in any way that works for you, and I will get to those. I am going to be beginning the week with my comprehensive session. So if you'd like to join for much deeper guidance and much more personalized guidance, the Empowerment Pack or one of the a la carte offerings would be amazing to connect with you. So do let me know if we can connect in any of those ways, and so much more to come this month as we march to the beat. Thank you so much for being here. I'm sending you all much love, many blessings, and we'll talk soon.